What's going on, guys? It's the Philosopher. I've got a room full of YouTubers and awesome people here. We are talking about GamesCon tonight. GamesCom, not GamesCon, and all the trailers that came out for it, and some other thoughts that I wanted to share about it along the way. But first, I wanted to see if there's anything that stuck out to you guys during the whole Gamescom thing so far.
Well, Blacktavian. I just wanted to say that. I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
To be honest, only one. That's the one they showed off Metal Gear Solid, right?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay. Sadly, that's the only thing I saw. I didn't see anything else.
I saw some of the trailers for Battlefield 1, which look interesting. It looks. I like seeing the desert level gameplay. Definitely gave it. Even wondering about, okay, what's it going to look like aside from trench warfare and stuff? And now we've actually got some of that now. In terms of the desert gameplay and that sort of thing.
What say you, Ian?
Oh, about the trailer that came out? I think it's cool they're bringing in trench armor and going to make it more difficult to kill certain units. I think it's going to be kind of fun.
Wait, explain trench armor.
Trench armor would be heavy metal plates some of the soldiers started wearing. Typically they didn't make people assault with it, but usually machine gunners would wear it because it would give them because they were stationary and get shot at a lot. So they wear heavy armor in the hopes that, like, when people would shoot at them, they could continue firing their machine gun without dying themselves.
Well, that seems legit. That seems pretty cool, actually.
But the way they're doing it in Battlefield 1 is, like, they're going to have, like, a special class that's going to be fully armored up and just, like, walks across the battlefield. So it's not going to be, like, realistic, but it's going to be pretty interesting for gameplay.
It sounds like it's going to be an elite class. It looks like it's going to be something like elite class kind of thing, like with Battlefront, where you'd have, like, hero characters and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, potentially. It might be, or it'll be something you can spec into, potentially. It'll be the drawback will be you move slower, but you take more damage. Because I really doubt, like, looking at Battlefield 1, some of the footage I've seen, it's not going to be like World War I, because I don't think that'd be fun for anyone if you had human waves going across no man's land getting wiped out by the thousands. So they're not really going to go that way. The battles are going to be pretty fluid and kind of crazy. And I think the hopes is they're probably going to bring in more, I wouldn't say like steampunk, but realistic technology to the era that will make it more dynamic and more fluid for battle to make it more interesting, like armored cars, some of the early tank models. And the Zeppelin stuff they have is going to be really interesting because that's going to make a really intriguing dynamic to the battle in the sense that the Zeppelins have pretty heavy weapons that can just bomb the crap out of the battlefield below them. So it's going to be pretty fun dynamics what they're planning on doing.
Question.
Yeah.
This might just be my ignorance, when it comes to World War I. Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
Was that during that time?
Yes, it was, very much so.
Okay, because I know in the trailer they talked Lawrence of Arabia is in the game, so...
Yeah, Lawrence was a crucial crucial individual in that period because he helped stem the Arab revolt against the Ottoman Empire. So he basically took a couple $1 million of British gold, brought it into the Arabian Peninsula, paid off a lot of tribesmen, gathered up as many weapons as they could, and they started pushing the revolt basically against the Ottomans. And pretty soon, like it didn't take long after the revolt started, after they captured Mecca and then Medina. So the revolt picked up steam pretty quickly in the sense that it worked. So he's a pretty influential figure in that time, and even after the war, he was still a pretty influential figure in the Middle East.
So is that why we call them footstools?
What?
Not Ottomans?
Oh. No, I still call him an Ottoman.
Yep, same here.
No?
Antonio's giving you the no approval, or disapproval, while eating a burrito. Golly.
That's very Mexican of him.
I'm sorry, I'm racist.
I'm sorry, he said I didn't say it this time.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of excited.
Thank you very much.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm actually excited enough for Battlefield 1, I might actually spend money on it, because, like, I almost bought Battlefront, and then I'm like, nah, this shit's gonna suck. Because, like, I remember playing it, and just, like, the vehicle combat was really subpar.
But yeah, I remember you didn't like it. I actually had fun with it, but I just need to play with people more often.
I'll put this out there, like, what I hated the most about Battlefront was the vehicles had predetermined maneuvers that were skills, and I'm like, I can fly the plane myself. Why do I need a predetermined maneuver? It really irritated me, and it felt like it limited gameplay quite a bit. So that just really bothered me and turned me off enough where I'm like, I'm not gonna buy Battlefront because of that.
Ian, have you had a chance to watch any of the footage of For Honor? And if so, what do you think about that?
For Honor. Let me look that one up here.
Oh my God, For Honor. Yes.
That's the Ubisoft sort of medieval fighting mass combat game thing.
Yeah, it's almost like a what if between Vikings, Knights, and Samurai.
Yeah, Vikings.
Oh yeah, I've seen some stuff with that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of new gameplay footage that came out of Gamescom.
I haven't watched that yet, but it felt like to me like it was going to be kind of more like Dynasty Warriors, but with more environmental kind of stuff.
That's
could be fun in that
regard. Similar. That's a good way to put it. Kind of. From one point of view, it kind of has that like Muso factor where there's hordes of enemies, but then there's also the one-on-one aspect where you do fight the, I guess the lieutenants or whatever, or the other players.
Yeah.
So it seems really interesting. I feel like the gameplay might still need some room for improvement, or the person I was watching just wasn't that good because he was getting his shit rocked. But the game seems pretty cool so far. I've got to play as a samurai. The trailer was really awesome, but the gameplay looks cool, but I need to see more from it. Yeah. What about you, Andrew?
Who's Andrew?
Or, I mean, oh my God, Andrew. Alex.
Octavian, get your names right.
What it looks like to me, if I was to describe it in a nutshell, if I was to describe someone in an elevator with a certain degree of games fluency, the mass combat definitely looks very, I agree, it looks very Dynasty Warriors. When you get into the one-on-one, it almost feels, it's not exactly Bushido Blade-ish because you can take more hits than in Bushido Blade, but it has that much more Bushido Blade strategic combat based on what your stance is, and your positioning based on both of you and of your guard in position to your opponent, and that sort of stuff. And I mean, we haven't had a Bushido Blade game since the freaking PlayStation 1 era console generation. And if they actually manage to pull this off with the one-on-one combat and with an interesting story around the rest of it, then that could definitely be fun. I like with Bushido Blade with the combat of it, and they put a fun little Gonzo story to it for why you have all these different sword fighting styles together. This could be really neat. I hope it turns out well.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I wish more games. Well, I don't want to say this, but I'm glad this is a game that's coming out. I think there might be more kind of what ifs between different people who never really interacted the way that they're going to do it in this game. You know, like ninjas versus pirates. They've already done that, and that's a bad example, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Or just different empires kind of go at each other, or styles of society.
This really makes me wish that Neil Stephenson's kickstarted fighting game thing that they're putting together with like the classic and Western martial arts in terms of sword fighting game. I forget the name of it. It fell through and got canceled. I wish that it had come through because that was going to be even more diverse than that. It was going to be like the various types of Western martial arts and some of the Japanese and Chinese sword fighting arts and like sword fighting arts from other countries, and it's going to try to attempt to replicate them realistically in how they actually worked. Which on the one hand is very ambitious. On the other hand, Neil Stephenson's a guy with such a level of attention to detail, particularly if you've read his books, that I think that he would have certainly pushed to carry this out properly. And I understand why the Kickstarter fell through because it was definitely way, way too ambitious. But seeing this makes me wish that we'd actually gotten that because it would have been made for a really interesting game.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I think the problem is that every time combat wants to be realistic, almost always it kind of sucks. You have to have a degree of really not realistic in order for it to be fun to play.
Yeah, exaggeration.
Yeah, and easiness to play, because the more like the real thing you make it, is just be complex. You're adding complexity into it.
Yeah, the harder you make it, and the lower. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's that's why we don't have, for instance, on shooter games. Imagine if you want to add realism and say, well, if you want to reload, you have to empty your clip before you reload, or you lose all the other bullets, right?
Let me tell you about Arma.
Sucks, probably.
By all accounts, it does, and now we're going to get flamed to hell and back in the comments because Arma has passionate fans.
Well, they suck as well.
Well, Arma I would define as a dad game, in the sense that it's slow-paced, has higher realism, and ultimately it's just a gigantic pain in the ass as far as, like, if you get nailed and go down, it's realistic in the sense that you take 1 or 2 shots and you're dead. And then you have to run all the way back. And these maps in Arma are several hundred square kilometers, so they're just pains in the ass.
So I used to put DayZ in that. And
I mean, like, it's a decent game. It's just, if you want hyper-realism, Arma's the way you want to go. If you want a fun kind of more arcade shooter, you go with, like, Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, any other shooter. But I mean, like, Arma comes from that long line of
best first-person shooter, Overwatch.
We got to talk about that as well at some point, right?
That's debatable. The best first-person shooter? Oh,
yeah.
Please.
I think it's the hottest shooter right now. I'll say that.
Hands down. I find it more entertaining than Call of Duty. I find it more entertaining than Battlefield. I spend more hours in it than any other shooter besides, right now, GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64 and Perfect Dark.
To go back to the fighting thing real quick, to get back to what Antonio was saying, is I definitely think like Bushido Blade did a good job. You have to strike a balance of abstraction and realism.
Mm-hmm.
Bushido Blade did an excellent job of that, where having combat be quick and based heavily as much on positioning and a certain degree skill and reflexes, without getting into big super combo stuff like with Samurai Showdown, Soul Calibur, or what have you, and Last Blade, and I hope that with what we're getting with For Honor for the combat there, for the big one-on-one duels, they're going to juggle that abstraction right. Thus far, from what we've gotten from Ubisoft, in the past, say what you will about their other games, I think they could get juggle that abstraction right. Fingers crossed. It's the question about what about the rest of the game around those duels. This could very much be a game where those duel sequences are great, are fun, they're challenging and exciting, and then the rest of the game around it is kind of eh. But we'll have to see when that comes out.
Have any of you guys played Rise?
I don't have
Just
an
in my
Xbox One yet.
Yeah.
The Xbox
One? It's out for PC now, but I'm looking at this game, and it has a lot of environmental kills, has kind of a more robust fighting mechanic, but it has some of the same elements that Rise has, in the sense that you have, like, combat is kind of predetermined animations based on what you do sometimes. But I mean, it looks
Steam,
good.
though, right?
What?
It's not on Steam, though, right?
Right? No, it's on Steam.
It is?
Yeah, Rise is on there. I haven't. I've been playing it a little bit.
Really?
But it looks fun. It's just the idea of knights, Vikings, and samurai fighting each other reminds me of that Half-Life mod from years ago, but except they had pirates in there as well. Remember
Great
that
game.
one? You remember that mod?
Vikings and Knights.
Remember that mod?
Yeah, it was great. I love that one. They actually made an HD remake of it, and I'm pretty sure you can find it on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
But
But it reminds me of that, just minus the flintlocks from the pirates, which made that really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
What's
The
is
game
it
that
called
everyone cares
Rise of
about.
Nations?
No, Rise, something of, I think, Son of Rome?
Yeah, Rise
Yeah,
Son
Son
of
of
Rome.
Rome. Yeah, yeah.
R-Y-S.
Rise, Son of Rome.
I think that's it. Or is it something of
It's
Rome?
R-I-S-E.
R-Y.
That was R-Y.
R-Y.
Oh, there you
It's so
go.
weird.
It was an
That's what it
Xbox
is.
One exclusive.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
an Xbox launch. Yeah.
It's kind of like a God of War style game. But
It was
$10.
their version, yeah.
It's $10, so it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's pretty. It's It's a pretty game. Like I haven't really
Yeah.
played through it too much. I'm just
It's
kind
made
of
with
going.
it's made with like CryEngine 3, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Um,
But it just reminds me of this game right now. For Honor, that might be a title I'll check out, or when it goes on the bargain bin.
Speaking of historical games, Mafia 3 got more gameplay footage of that.
Yeah,
Before we get to the elephant in the room, I liked Mafia 2. I think it did a really good job of what it had its problems with in terms of being a big open world with not much to do in it. In between the main story missions, it did a good job of taking a snapshot of an era and a period, and also did a good job of kind of nailing the gangster movie arc of you. From the outside, you see the appeal, and then as you get more and more inside, you start realizing what a terrible situation you've gotten yourself into, and you can't really get out. And it pulled that off fairly well. So I'm interested to see what they do with Mafia 3, particularly with how they have the story structured. And it's the one Mafia game where your character isn't actually part of the Italian Mafia.
And he's black.
Yep.
That doesn't really matter.
Is he Black Tavian or?
No, he's not Black Tavian. He's not that cool. He has not reached that level of coolness yet. Maybe once I play the storyline, he might get to that level. He might transcend just being black.
Into Black Tavian.
Exactly.
Um,
But no, the game does look really cool. I actually did enjoy the second one. I never played the first one, but the second one was really cool. I like the storyline of it a lot. I like the whole... I don't know how good this one's going to be, but anytime there's a fight club, I like it. Like, I don't know why. Just bare knuckle fighting is always really cool. So going, like him getting to the military and then getting into trouble and then going to jail and then coming back out and like taking over this mafia family, essentially like going from the bottom to the top. Shut up. I realized what I said after I said it. Now I've got to like do something in the video just to do that. But no, this one seems kind of like it has the same similar storytelling to it. I know also the main character from the second one's going to be in this one. He's supposed to be helping him out in some way. I don't know. I know there's some betrayal going on, obviously from the trailers. So it does look really cool. I thought that era was really interesting. I don't know like the years and dates and things like that, but just the overall feel and the mentality that the people of that era had was very fascinating to me.
Yeah,
plus, they had cool cars.
Yeah, the 60s and 70s is a great time to be setting the story.
Yeah.
I wonder how grindhouse they're going to be getting with this.
Probably not very. I don't think more. I don't want to say noir.
Yeah, I mean, there's some noirish grindhouse stuff. But kind of like which direction is that?
Looked very Godfather-y to me.
Yeah, it is Godfather for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's Godfather, Scarface, and it's maybe not so much Scarface.
More Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
But with 68, you got like the rise of like Vegas being well established. So I mean, there's tons of opportunities for where they could go. But I think they may just be staying in the South.
Yeah, they're staying in not New Orleans.
Yeah, not New Orleans.
Not Noir Orleans. Sorry. But I've got to get back to something now that is important. Basically, Jared, you're wrong. Overwatch is a great game, but it's not the best game. I had to say that.
I didn't say it was the best game. I said it's the best first-person shooter.
Well, it's the best first-person shooter for you currently, but I mean,
there are others out
there that I like more.
It is true, though.
Let me modify that description. It's the best multiplayer first-person shooter now. That's what it is.
Ever.
Oh,
I would agree with Antonio.
Not the best first-person shooter, just like that. It's just the best multiplayer first-person shooter.
It's still a first-person shooter.
Yeah, but the multiplayer is...
Although that's a lower tier to Tyler in gameplay. Like
it's like casual games to him. It's like phone games.
It's the first person shooter game I really enjoy since Halo, to be honest.
There you go. And it's having actual changes that made me install the game back.
And then some.
because fuck it before.
Yeah,
Sucks.
now they're going. I heard they're going to expand on the butt poses now.
Oh, good. Finally.
I'd say, oh my god,
You'd like
fuck-
that, wouldn't you?
Fuck Diva.
Philosopher?
I hate what they did to Diva. Putting that out there.
What did they do with Diva?
Oh, her freaking charge function now pulls off an internal power, so you can pretty much do it whenever you need to, as opposed to expanding the skill. So it's basically a full shield, and I'm like, God damn it, it makes her good. I hate it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I because they just released some notes. It's on the PTR, which is the practice region. Some new updates to the game that will be coming in the new patch before Season 2. One of them is being Diva's Matrix thing is a 0.5 recharge, meaning people could just tap it and keep tapping and it reloads. Now it's a 1 second recharge and has to be held. You can't keep tapping it. So they have to hold it, it drains fully, and then it takes 1 full second for it to reload instead of a half second. So they've kind of changed that. They've changed Zenyatta for not being so powerful. They've made some changes to McCree. They made some changes to Genji. They completely nerfed a lot of his stuff. So he can't dash to a wall, double jump on the wall, dash again, double jump on a wall, dash again, and keep staying up in the air. He also can't dash through people's Widowmaker's grenade or Junkrat's trap anymore. It will actually stop him.
But you could dash through that?
I didn't know he could do any of that.
Like, that's bullshit. I mean, like, if that stupid trap can stop Reinhardt while he's with a rocket on his back.
Yep. Yep. It no longer takes damage to any non-person thing. Also, Mei, her thing now pierces shielding.
Yeah.
So she's now up, and then her ultimate went from a radius of 80 to a radius of 100 now, so it's bigger.
Oh god.
And they've upped her damage 10%. Yeah.
Good.
Why did they even make Mei better? She's fucking annoying.
It's because nobody uses her.
Fair enough.
She's not that bad of a character.
No one in the
tournament.
in the higher levels though. That's what.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah.
So they've really upgraded a lot of characters. They fixed a lot of the bugs in maps, and they've now with Season 2, with everything that they've fixed and changed with Season 2 coming up, the competitive scene for Overwatch is going to take a huge increase, I think, and it's going to be a whole new playing field.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's going to be much better. First of all, let me tell you, it's going to be more like StarCraft 2. That's your solution for everything. Everything should be more like StarCraft 2.
If you like StarCraft so much, why don't you play it?
Because fuck StarCraft and fuck Blizzard. I can't. It's cracked. It's cracked to me, so I have to stop. That's why. But this changes that are more like StarCraft 2 are gonna be great now because again, I've not told the story here, but I had to uninstall Overwatch because of how bullshit the competitive scene is. It's just broken as fuck right now. It's just broken.
You're broken.
Well, it was broken as in no matter what level you are. So, like, Antonio was level 56. He goes in with a bunch of people of 56.
I was 58, and it took me down all the way down to 53, I guess, because I was playing games and I was losing. But here's the thing: in every game, I was getting at the very least 3 gold medals. Right? I was getting 3 and 4 gold medals every single game for 15 games in a row. And I know that there, of course, gold medals just it's not the complete story. Of course, we know that there's a more nuance to that. Still, it means that I was doing better than anyone else in those metrics in every single game. In every single game, next game, the way it should be, in my opinion, is that it should pair you with people. Okay, if you are the first, the best one in your team, next game, if you lost, next game, I'm gonna try to pair you with people that have a little bit more skill because you yourself were more skilled than anyone else, right? But no, for 15 games in a row, I was getting the gold medals, at least 3, in every single one, and every single one I lost. It's like, okay, so what do you want me to do? What can I do to increase my proficiency in the game, right? If I'm doing everything, as the game is asking me for, then then fuck the game at that point.
Mm.
Here's my question for you, though.
Yes.
Did you work with your team? Did you communicate with your team?
Oh, I
Did you
was
say,
trying.
hey, let's make sure we have 2 healers, 2 DPS, and 2 tanks?
Well, I was trying to, but that's the other part of it, right? Not only is it the whole thing about you being, again, metrics-wise, being the best one, and then still people pair me with the next team and still be the best of them all and still losing. Not only that, but the communication, man, I was probably in every single game, at most, I had 2 more people with mics, at most, in a 6-people game, and people were just like, fuck it, auto picking, picking. There was no healers, no one cared. It's like, fuck, I had to be the healer myself in order for that to work. So, at what point do you say, fuck it, either you play with people right? And that's probably the only way that it could work at this point. The problem is that if you want to play solo, because again, it's a heavy team-based game with 6 people in order for you to play, you are not going to have 6 people at a time that you want to play with every time. You want to queue solo sometimes, right? So, but at this point, the game is broken to a point that if you queue solo, it's just
It's a death wish.
Yeah, it's a death wish, exactly. It's okay. You just put it in there. It's under your own consideration if you want to do it, but it's not gonna be pretty.
See, I feel sorry for you. I mean, that's what happens when you end up queuing with Philosopher, Z Group, Video Game Hunter, and Serenity. I mean, those guys don't listen, do their own thing.
I try to.
I do what I want.
Hanzo.
I think that's a common issue that
Yeah, it's-
most multiplayer games have, though.
Yeah, that's why I don't play competitive. I play quick matches for fun. I don't really care about competitive.
That's the problem, man. That's the problem with this fucking Blizzard game.
Yeah, that's why I play
The
games that are
competitive
win.
part.
They put a ranking on things, and people just shit all over themselves in an attempt to get higher on it.
I know,
I don't care.
I like the visuals.
Yeah, that's how I describe it, because it's just turn normal. You have the funny thing is you have toxic players in every community. I find there are just more toxic players in competitive than there are in quick matches because it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh,
So that's just
Well,
where I
yeah.
tend to hang out.
that's the other part. People we fucking saying in the chat, because of course the real toxic fuckers, they don't talk on the mic. They're fucking scared even to do it. They're always typing, you suck as this guy, and it's like, fuck, I don't even see what you're doing, whatever, I don't care. And at the end of the match, he's like nowhere to be seen right on the scoreboard. It's like, fuck. This guy was saying that everyone was sucking balls and he's not even appearing here.
I know
Yeah,
it's
like-
my fault, but you're gay.
You're fucking gay. You don't play nearly as well as me. I'm like, where have you been this entire match?
Yeah, exactly.
Doing
It's fun.
straight things.
You have 0.0 on objective. Why are you talking shit?
Yeah, so that happened way too much at this point. And the other part that we sucking so much ball, for some reason, we have people that leave the game. And when they leave it at first, it's okay because the match is canceled or whatever. But they fucking leave at the second point that now that everything is critical. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
when your experience is going to matter, people leave. I'm like, God damn, why am I even playing anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I hate the most is that they throw me in a game and the game suddenly ends like in 3 seconds after I join. Oh,
That's
And
not
you
good,
get the
though.
loss for that, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
See,
But for
me, that was
competitive,
like,
but for competitive, you don't do that,
no,
right?
for
You have to
competitive
be,
it's not. For quick play, it is.
or quick play, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you still get the loss in your overall Master Overwatch file. So
Oh,
it
yeah, because you
sucks.
guys care about that. Yep.
You know what? I can't say that I don't care about that, but because I don't want to be hypercritical. But it's really not that important if it makes sense. What it's important to me is that every time I play, I want to have fun, right? But that's the other part of those 15 matches that made me uninstall the game. Is that if I was having fun, right, on those games, saying that it was a very close match, or these guys were, oh my god, they did this and this is why they won, right? Or this happened and this made it more fun. But no, all of those fucking 15 matches were like fucking stomping on us, like we weren't even there. It's like, oh my fucking god, it's no fun. It's no fun after that.
And each game was with somebody random, right?
Yes, different people every time.
The same people every single time.
No, different people every time for 15 consecutive matches. It was like, oh my fucking god, no. I don't. And the other thing that I've noticed is that this happens more during the day than at night. At night seems to be that it's more fair and people are more willing to work with you and fun.
Because the adults are getting off work.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I play during the morning, and yeah, I find the same thing. It's the younger kids, non-mics are on, and in the evening, that's when you guys get home. So you guys are the people I play with, which makes it easier because you guys are coming home from work, and it's to relax and play, and it's that. But this new system that Overwatch has set up is fantastic. It's a rank system with gold, bronze, silver, master, grandmaster, with a decay mode and all this jazz. So it's going to keep people very competitive, and it's going to keep the lower end people out, and it's going to keep less trolls out. And I think that's where the biggest thing is that there is a lot of trolls on there, and higher up levels you get, it's going to be mandatory. And this is my PSA to anyone who buys Overwatch or has Overwatch. Get a fucking mic or uninstall the game.
Yeah, man. Yes. Fuck you if you don't want to communicate in a highly team-based game. Fuck you.
Play Evolve Stage 2.
Well, and while we're telling people to fuck off, how about because we're running kind of long, and not to hijack the moderation chair from Tavian. I know I got to get to work tomorrow, so I'll bring up the elephant in the room with our latest installment of Fuck Konami News.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Konami.
Oh, Overwatch has a new map. They announced the new map at GamesCom.
to quote to paraphrase Jim Sterling, all the news that fit to make you say "fuck Konami." The new MGS, Metal Gear Survive.
Yep.
I love how Konami's completely out of ideas, and they're just copying the Raccoon City concept.
And you know what?
Don't they own Silent Hill?
There's a thing, though. In being fair to Konami, yeah, they
don't deserve you to be fair.
Well, I guess not, but fucking, I'm a fair guy, whatever, right? At the end of the day, it could be a fun game, but at the end of the day, fuck Konami. I'm not it's what it is. They deserve this. It could be the most fun game with zombies. By the way, zombies are fucking played out for goddamn.
Exactly.
Stop it. It's already played. Just fucking stop it. Anyways, it could be a very fun game, but they really do not deserve your money. They should learn their lesson and understand that if you're gonna fuck with consumers like that, you're gonna be fucked in the anus, right? But we gotta talk with our wallets. So I'm not buying the game. I don't care if it's the best game when it comes out. I'm just not buying it.
Did you say we gotta talk with our balls or wallets?
With our balls as well.
Okay.
Yeah, our balls speak loud. Remember that.
I want to add on to that because I do think the concept for the game is interesting and cool, but this is that kind of situation where I want to say as a gamer, and I guess as an adult gamer, your morals get put into play. What do you stand for? And you could just buy the game and get it and say it's a good game, but at this point for me, it's more important than just that. I felt like as a consumer and as a loyal fan to the series, has been essentially fucked over. And it's the same reason why I don't set foot in Walmart. I don't shop at Walmart because I feel like they've wronged me as well, and they've wronged many other people, not just myself.
What do you mean? Why are you talking about Walmart?
Walmart, I'll get back to that later. I'll tell you that probably off the show. But
what's going on here?
Nothing too terrible, but
it was a security check.
Yeah, they fondled me and did all kinds of dirty things. It was terrible. I'm affected for life. But no, with Metal Gear Survive, it's not just the game. It's all the shit that they've done, or we believe they've done. Maybe Konami is in the right and Kojima was in the wrong. I highly doubt it. But from where I sit right now, I feel like they fucked over us. 5 felt like kind of an incomplete game. I still liked it a lot, but I know there could have been more to what was supposed to be there, and I feel like they've also screwed over Kojima, and he's someone I look up to very much so, and I think he makes good content. I love Zone of Vendors. I still have not played some of his older games, but yeah, no, I'm not going to buy the game, even if it is good. I'm like you said, I'm going to speak with my wallet and my balls.
Yeah. Yes, but your balls. You remember, your balls need to speak first. Then your wallet.
My balls and my wallet.
Yes, but the balls are first. Remember that.
Okay. I'll remember
That's
that.
important.
To add on to this, as far as the concept goes, it's not actually that original a concept. I mean, there are tons of survival games, some of which get advertised on television. Like 7 Days to Die had like a big live-action advertisement. I want to say it got television time on cable, not though. At least from what I understand. But they'll say like there's like 7 Days to Die. There's DayZ. There's whatever that other game from the developers of Dead Island.
Dead Island 2.
No, not Dead Island 2. It's a different series. It's the one with
Dead Island 3?
It's the one with the parkour.
Oh, that's Neo's Edge.
Daylight, whatever. What is it?
Yeah.
Dead Till Dawn? I don't know.
Oh yeah, the zombie game with the parkour.
Oh, okay, yeah. Daylight or something like that.
Yeah, they're saying that this one will have a little bit of stealth as well. I mean, again,
It didn't look like it had any.
at the end of the day, they could be the best game. Even if they were, I love the Metal Gear series. I just love it. Even if they were to continue this story, I would not buy it. Even if I want to see where the story continues to go, I will not. I'm done with Konami. I'm just done with it. I am not buying any of their games.
I thought it is continuing from the Metal Gear Solid. What's it?
Well,
5.
This takes place immediately after Metal
Ground
Gear
Zero.
5. No, Metal Gear 5.
Okay, I didn't finish Metal Gear Solid 5 because I found out about the game how to get the good ending. You have to do something with the what's that base they call it?
Mother Base.
Yeah, apparently you have to upgrade everything to get the good ending, and I refused to do it because I didn't like that concept of the game.
See, here's the problem. This game is going to do well. It's going to sell well because I believe there's a problem with the generational gap.
Yeah.
We here, by show of hands, how many people were alive when Metal Gear Solid 5 was released?
Wait,
Hands.
Metal Gear Solid 5 isn't
on.
that old. Metal Gear Solid 5 is like 2 years old.
Shh. Metal Gear Solid 4.
All of us.
Metal Gear
All of
Solid
us.
Metal Gear
4.
Solid 3.
Metal
All
Gear
of
Solid
us.
4 is like
Metal Gear Solid 2.
All of us.
And then Metal Gear Solid 1.
All of us.
See? That's the thing. We have the nostalgia value from the first release to 5.
Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear 1, sir.
I did not exist.
87.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't. You know what? I tried to beat that game. I tried to beat that game. I sat down and tried to play it all the way through. Then I found out, no, if you kill even one prisoner, you can't fully beat the game.
Yeah, it's a hard game.
Dude, I have both of those. I have that one and Snake's Revenge.
Yeah, so do I.
Still, even if we rule out the nostalgia thing, there's enough dislike I have seen on the internet towards Konami at the present, even from younger gamers, over the news reports about situations inside Konami, the treatment of Kojima, that even gamers who have just come in through like the last 2 games, through 4 and 5, as their gateway to the series, those earlier games have all had so much of Kojima's fingerprints all over them, and a bunch of Kojima's involvement in the story. That while I'm not a big fan of Artur theory, as you got into if you watched my last video. He is is such a driving force in the story's narrative. The fact that they've that Konami alienated Kojima into leaving and treated him like such crap, that with somebody else, particularly someone who you can't set up a solid pedigree of their connection to Kojima, driving the game, will probably burn a lot of people. And for the people who want a survival game, there are enough already. The survival game market is starting to get about as cluttered as the MOBA market was getting a few years ago, that Konami will have to work really hard, both in terms of the fundamental concepts of the genre and in terms of how the genre is executed, to make it work. Now, for Square Enix and their Minecraft knockoff Dragon Quest Builders, they, on the one hand, they do have Dragon Quest as a franchise to go off with that, as the example of another company who's doing a game in a similar genre, which they might not have experience with. But Dragon Quest is a franchise which has a strong sense of goodwill behind it, and has shown a track record of having spin-off titles which don't necessarily have the core creators behind it still faring well. Konami has squandered all its goodwill with the gaming community right now, and they're stepping into a genre that they don't have any experience with, without any of the core creators behind the game, and without necessarily having a track record showing that if you make a Metal Gear game with none of the core creators behind it, it will work, with perhaps the sole exception of Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes for the GameCube. So,
but here's the thing, though. I just gotta say that the problem I see with this game, though, is that they're probably still gonna make a profit, and it's not because the game is gonna sell very well, because it's just not, right? But since they already have all the assets, because they're gonna use the same assets that they already have for Metal Gear Solid 5, right? They have the engine, they have they have everything pretty much. They just need to program the gameplay and whatever new models they do for the zombies and whatnot. But they have everything done, so they are not gonna spend that much money to make it. So they just need to have very few sales in order for it to make a profit. And I don't think they're gonna learn their lesson, because they're gonna say, well, we made a profit, guys. We continue to fuck everyone else, and we'll continue to make profit. So we'll continue. Well,
this is just going to be the same. This is going to be the exact same thing. I mean, we can sit here and say, yes, they ruined their prestige with the fans. They've done this, they've done that, though. But the problem is that we've already seen this happen, right? Capcom has already done this. They've done it with Mega Man with the influential person behind that leaving, and everyone's saying, "Oh, I'm not buying any of that." Blah 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 blah. Then they come out with Street Fighter V. We all know that debacle, and it continues, right? And people are still buying
it. Here's my counterpoint with the Konami situation: is Konami, unlike say Capcom, it is a publicly traded company, not in the United States. They voluntarily delisted themselves because they were trying to get out of the U.S. market and to get around the more stringent U.S. FEC reporting requirements, not FTC reporting requirements. No, it is FEC reporting requirements. But they're still publicly traded in Japan, and one of the things that came out of their most recent quarterly report is, after going this big thing about heavily divesting themselves from video games, saying it wasn't making any profit, and focusing more on the pachinko, their most recent quarterly reports, which came out this past week, what was revealed is their profit, they did not meet their set profit goals for profits, and in particular, their pachinko income contracted considerably compared to the previous quarter. And the only place where any growth was on the video game side of things, and so they desperately need to try and get the video game business back after so heavily chopping off their nose to spite their face. And so they actually need to build up the goodwill, and because it's not just a matter of making their. Not a matter of it sold well and made a profit. It's they're realizing that this is the. If I was in a position of management at Konami, or not even a position of management, if I was a member of the board or a prominent shareholder asking questions of Konami management, my question of Konami management is, how are you going to rebuild your video game business and get your goal and get an increase in profits after screwing all this over? And this isn't the way to do that, to be honest. I think, frankly, this is me being being backseat driver corporate analyst. If the smartest thing for Konami to do would not be doing something like this, would probably be doing something like what Capcom did with like Bionic Commando Rearmed, or some of their other similar titles, where it's like, okay, we're going to find like American independent developers or Japanese independent developers, and we are going to license off the rights to independently develop these games. We will publish them ourselves under our name, and we'll get a portion of the profits. But we will use these external development teams and their resources and their expertise and their passion for these franchises to rebuild some of that goodwill, to show that, hey, we do care, and we're going to trust this. We're going to trust people you trust with these franchises, while we work internally on rebuilding our game division. And that would be, if you're going to do something this short term, this quick turnaround, that would be the best option. But they're not doing that. It's crap. Well, what can we do? What do we have? We have the new Fox engine. We know from looking at the Steam pages that these survival games are a big deal. So we're going to make a survival game using the Fox engine, and we're going to do this on the cheap, and hope that lots of people buy it because it's Metal Gear, because we don't understand that we've lost goodwill.
Yeah.
And they may make a profit on this, but it's not just we need to make a profit. We need to make a big profit. They need to build a brand. They need to rebuild brands. They need to rebuild market share.
But this game isn't their brand. Their rebranding game. This has nothing to do with them building anything.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
All this game is just it's cash cow.
Yeah,
it's the Ghostbusters pretty much.
They're hinging on the name, but the thing is like I said, there's really the only thing they're going to do, is continue to release, their products, unless products, and more DDR.
Well, the thing is...
Ooh, yes, we need more DDR.
The problem is, again, they're a publicly traded company. They're not they're a privately held company. They could get away with doing that for freaking ever. If they could do the Idea Factory thing of, we're going to churn out slightly engine-tweaked hyperdimension Neptunia games year after year after year, and they'll sell because people like the writing and the in-jokes of the game industry in-jokes, which, to be fair, some of them are pretty funny, with a fairly shallow gameplay layer, and they'll work. Idea Factory's privately traded. They can get away with that. Konami's publicly traded, and if their profits are contracting, then what happens to the people on top of the company, the CEO, the president of the company, is they get fired and replaced with someone who will actually increase profits. That's what happens in the United States. It happens in Europe. It happens everywhere that has a stock market.
Well, this is essentially what it boils down to. Is these are companies that are thinking with their wallet rather than thinking from their heart. And it's nothing new. I mean, video games are a business nowadays.
I completely get that. I think that. Pardon my interruption, but thinking is just thinking with your wallet with the short cash cow gain is not actually going to get them the increases that they need to keep to prevent a shareholder revolt.
Right. We as gamers know that, but these guys aren't thinking as gamers; they're thinking as executives.
Well, exactly. The problem is, thinking as executives, they should be scared for their jobs and trying to prevent a shareholder revolt.
But those shareholders and the people that are on these boards and everything, they don't really give a shit about the games or the lineage of where it comes from.
Well,
All they care about is the profits that they get cut. I mean, if they cared, they would have remade proper games of Konami's library a long time ago. There's a lot of games that they haven't touched because none of those shareholders have stepped up and said, "Hey, let's do this," or bring a big enough voice to those board members to do something.
Well,
so
I'm
unfortunately, this is where they're gonna end it.
Well, the other thing is this the point where things change because we had this recent this quarterly and either quarterly report or fiscal year, I forget which, is where we had the reveal that no, pachinko isn't the future, which is why Konami made all those decisions that we hate and started the trend of fuck Konami. Is the decision that previous Konami management made from not just from we love the game standpoint were wrong. It's from just a raw business leveraging at their IP were wrong. They bet a whole bunch on pachinko, and they bet wrong. They straight up bet wrong. The pachinko business is shrinking. Their pachinko profits are shrinking, and so if I was a shareholder of Konami, putting aside my love of video games, if I was a shareholder in Konami, I would be going at the next board meeting. My first question would be, hey, you have all these IPs which you are not leveraging in a fashion that promotes sustained growth. Your most recent project announcement, Metal Gear Survive, is not a long-term leveraging, has no long-term possibility for growth of our profits or growth of my investment as a shareholder. I hate getting into this, whatever his face, the guy who had the show on Game Trailers, the one now analyst douchebag. I hate going this way, but my brain's going here at the moment. What are you doing to avoid this, to make a long-term growth possible, to make actual long-term growing profits by the end of next fiscal year, as opposed to a quick, desperate cash grab, which will inflate things briefly in the hopes of conning me as a shareholder. And
see, but the big difference is, though, the reason why they made such a big jump in the gaming part compared to the pachinko part was the fact that they only released one game last year, and that was soccer.
And
so
it still made more than their entire pachinko business combined.
Because they released 13 pachinko machines with 13 different developers building these pachinko machines, compared to one soccer game, which is the same assets from 2002. Right? So you're in less R&D and less development in one soccer game. Of course, soccer games sell crazy. Ask anyone who works at a GameStop. I think the second question from anyone is the new FIFA in or the new Madden? So,
so soccer Mexicans buying that game,
Well, exactly, and that's it, right? So that's the reason why, again, when it comes to their company-wise, that's why the gaming part did so well, is because they had less money spent on games compared to pachinko side, which had more, right? So you're spending more on these teams to build this stuff. You're spending more on that, and that's why you had the big gut loss, because, again, as you said, yes, people aren't playing them as much because, again, perhaps they're oversaturating the market. It's the same as slot machines. But the reason why their gaming was so well is because you had one game that does well that you don't need to change the assets for.
Well,
right?
The thing is, pachinko churns, from understanding of the pachinko industry, it churns about as fast, if not faster, than slot machines. Like...
No, the last time I played a pachinko machine, I couldn't lose. I literally had to walk away.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of surprised. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised. Look at it, interesting.
In terms of like the turnaround on machines, in terms of anymore, particular machines depend so strongly on novelty anymore that from what I understand.
I think a lot of that might have to do with the shrinking market in the sense that Japan is an aging population. They don't have a whole lot of... Their youth population isn't exceeding their older population. And I think a lot of that might have to do with just older people aren't necessarily going at the pachinko parlors in the numbers they were in the past because they're just not replacing themselves, quite literally. So I think a lot of it has to do with just Japan's economy in general is somewhat shrinking, considering they're in somewhat of a recession, and gambling is probably the last thing you want to do when you're in a recession, even though it's not technically gambling due to loopholes and such. But but yeah, then again, like it's one of those things where it seems like a bad jump for Konami to go into. Are they these pachinko machines? Are they actually floating the bill for the hardware behind the pachinko machines, like developing the hardware also?
I believe that. I believe they handle. I believe they do all the pachinko stuff in house.
Yeah, so that's a terrible idea right there. Ultimately, you're going to be the amount of money and R&D in developing and distributing a mechanical item with a physical shipping form is so much more than just selling a CD. So no matter what, even on logistical shipping costs, they're probably going to save a bit more on just making a freaking game and putting it out. But ultimately, the nice thing about what they're doing with, at least for their company, with the new game is it's the same engine that they've already spent all that time and money developing, and it's going to be the same mechanic as probably Left 4 Dead in some respect, where it's going to have a set number of levels that 4 people can play over and over and over again, which ultimately is what you want from titles like that, considering people are still playing Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 almost 7 years later after they've come out. So that's probably what they're trying to hope for, is a game with a lasting community which will drive and continue interest in the Metal Gear franchise. So that way they're just going to keep that thought in people's minds while they work on probably their next Metal Gear title, because that's about all Konami has going for them.
Well, I think the other thing Konami could do, I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but would help bolster things, that would leverage their existing IPs without having necessarily an increased expenditure on their part, would be
the subcontract.
Yeah, subcontract, like with what happened with Capcom and Bionic Commando Revolve, and a few other companies done similar things. Was Digital Eclipse with like the Capcom arcade collections, like the Dungeons and Dragons collection and the Final Fight collection, where you have third-party companies, and you set up contracts with them. They develop the games. You do some promotion and handle distribution of them to make sure they get on platforms like Xbox, like PlayStation, like Steam, and they get access to all of your old IPs that aren't being used. If they want to make a new Twinbee, they can make a new Twinbee. They want to make a new Contra, they can make a new Contra. Whatever. The vault's open. Go for it. You handle the development costs yourself. We will handle the promotion. You will get a chunk of the take from the sales of the game, but you get to make a game in in the franchise that you liked when you were a kid.
Yeah, they also own a bunch of assets in Hudson.
But that also requires Konami to open the vault to people, though, which they may or may not do.
At Japanese pride.
This also might be a sign of just Japanese game companies in general just being kind of, because ultimately the amount of money they have to invest in making a game now is almost the amount of money you have to invest in making a movie.
Yep.
And your potential returns on a game can be higher, but ultimately your R&D and development time is, you're looking at, to make a movie, it takes them like a year. To make the games they need to make and the amount of effort and energy required, it's taken them like 2 years to develop a game that's even on par with some of the other stuff being released in the United States. And Japan's not as big of a country, and so it just, economically, it may not work out for them to keep making AAA titles this way. So I can see why Konami is hesitant to just keep pushing out AAA titles, because I don't think they have the money or the reserves to do it anymore.
My thought, on the other hand, is the retro look titles, like for example Shovel Knight, like for example the upcoming 2D Sonic game that we've got from the Freedom Planet developers. Speaking of which, Freedom Planet, they are doing well in terms of low overhead. From what I understand, a relatively low overhead and a good financial take. And these kind of titles are basically becoming not so much the new AAA, but the new AA, or
they're becoming the new standard.
Yeah. Well, I tell you this: Shovel Knight is fucking AAA. All right, right now.
Shovel Knight, quality-wise, it's AAA, but budget-wise, it's not as much AAA.
Yeah, but and also before you continue, Taven, just gonna say they all not only are they making fucking amazing, really great games, but they are actually gathering a lot of goodwill from the people because, like, for instance, Shovel Knight, all the DLC is gonna be free, and the DLC, if this last one, Plague of Shadows, is any indication, it's actually fucking great DLC, not stupid skins or whatever the fuck.
Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And it was
like
going to come out on the Retro VGS.
That's right.
I was so
now,
excited
their
for that. I
mode.
was going to buy it. It was great.
Anywho.
But continue, David.
See, but
Well,
Konami doesn't really have a lot of games.
Shut up, God damn it. Shut up. What I was going to say is that indie games are kind of changing the standard of how games can be made. A lot of AAA or former AAA developers are going to have to change how they do it, or they're going to just fall to the wayside. They might not go belly up. They might go to pachinko. They might go to something else. But what it boils down to, from everything we've been talking about, is that the way we make games has changed. Anybody can make a game now, and it still is very hard, but the level of entry to get into making a game is a lot cheaper. There's a lot less training required, or a lot less time. You still have to learn, but you don't have to spend 4 years of your goddamn life and be $70,000 in debt in order to learn how to make a game anymore. You know, people can do it from their homes. They can buy all the software. They can buy tutorials straight from their home. They can team up with other people. There's a bunch of different websites you can go online to develop a game. So the way games are being made is changing vastly, and we've seen it. A lot of AAA, I would consider AAA games, or games that sold well, are vastly popular, even if they didn't make a lot of money.
Tell that to Toby Fox, right, for Undertale. He did
Exactly.
it.
Minecraft.
One guy.
You know, there's a bunch of different games that are indie, that are household names. You know, Angry Birds. That wasn't, well, kind of, but that wasn't a big AAA developer. They were a smaller company that made like thousands of games before Angry Birds. But my point still stands, is that gaming, the way games are made are changing. You can look at Capcom and you can complain about them, but their business model is kind of working. They have a community.
Rip people the fans off. Rip the fans off.
A community that supports the game, that
games.
enjoys it, and they support it. They have their own little thing, and they're doing the right thing. And you can say that they're chewing it over, but they're supporting the game in a smart way. Yeah, I haven't spent a single dollar outside of the $60 for buying the game and the bicycle and everything. You could buy all the the new DLC characters and the new stages. I choose not to because I don't want to. I don't need them. Some people want to buy them. It's their choice, but it's not something that's being like forced down their throat. And the game doesn't feel incomplete to someone who's a true fan of the game that got it for the reason that they wanted to get it for, which was basically competitive or playing with their friends or their FGC. They started with the FGC, worked their way out. But you have games like Konami and a lot of EA games nowadays where they're kind of just blatantly nickel and diming you, and there's not much of a benefit to it. I can go in the game and practice for hours and get better at the game, which is what I want to do. But I can't, like, I mean, I could buy, you know, Mass Effect 3 and play the game and do a bunch of stuff for hours, but
And feel fulfilled.
I mean, maybe I could. I don't know, but that's not my bag. You know, everyone has their own thing, but you can see that Konami probably is not going to get supported. Like, I want to see after this game comes out. I bet you anything is going to come out a lot faster than the Metal Gear Solid 1 through 5 come out, because Kojima took a long time to make those games. He purposely pushed them back to finish the game. I guarantee this game is going to be a lot faster down the pipeline. I mean,
but it has a lot to do as well with the. Again, they already have the engine. Remember, this engine, the Fox engine, Kojima and their team did from scratch. So that's why it took a long time as well. They didn't only do the game, they created a new engine for it and a lot of assets that are going to be reused for this. So, you know.
See, the thing is, I just look at this as a movie, right? You have a great director who makes a great movie, right? And he can make that movie and that game absolutely fantastic, has his vision all over it, has the way he wants it to be, and that's the way it is, right? And I'm going to use this as an example, Alien, Ridley Scott. Then you have a new director come in with all those assets and all that ability, James Cameron, Aliens 2, or Aliens, right? just as good as the first one, own different story, own different thing, can still be very successful in its own view. This might be that. This might be Konami's Aliens. Or you get someone where the studio gets all involved in it and screws it all up, and that's how you get Alien 3. Right? Mm-hmm. So, in reality, this can go one of two ways. This could be James Cameron's Aliens, or disappointing Alien 3.
And we know that's going to be Alien 3.
Or Josh Whedon's Alien Resurrection.
And to be fair, that was technically from the director of City of Lost Children, but
I know. But everyone knows Joss Whedon. Here's a movie where great director, great writer, has made some great series, great TV series, great movies now. But before, here's his pile of shit.
To be fair, Alien Resurrection, they only used like 10% of his script.
No, I know.
Just saying, like, even though it is kind of funny that basically Alien Resurrection is probably what inspired the show Firefly, considering it's kind of the same concept, the motley crew that does tasks for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to go back to real quick is something that Tavian was saying, reminding me, in terms of for how the development thing is going to structure. Development is going to change, and how publishers are going to have to change their idiom. It reminded me a bit of the sort of film scene in sort of the 50s and 60s, something which the book Easy Riders Raging Bulls did not get into, and I present the book for that among various other points. Is the 50s, 60s, and 70s is when we got into the era of the low budget quote unquote exploitation movie. Some of which were terrible, some of which were extraordinarily amazing, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. And this could potentially be the era of that for the video game. Everyone likes to make the comparisons between video games and movies in terms of where they are in the timeline. Are we in the 1930s of video games now, of movies? Are we in the 1940s or 50s of movies now? We could potentially kind of be in that 60s and 70s era now, and where the low-budget game is king until something changes where we get back to the big-budget blockbuster once again. And the smart thing for companies who have big back catalogs of IPs to leverage, like Konami, who has the Hudson back catalog in addition to their own stuff. We've got Star Soldier and all that great stuff. Where you have Namco, who has their long established history of video game characters. Your Capcom, long history. You have Square, who also owns Taito, and all this other stuff. You have the potential here to take these old IPs and leverage them in interesting, exciting ways to make games which are low budget to develop, low price to sell, but will make a lot of money. Namco's got this nailed with stuff like their Pac-Man downloadable games, like Pac-Man Anniversary, the Pac-Man Anniversary Edition series. And I think it's like Pac-Man 255 is their Endless Runner Maze game, where you're trying to outrun the corruption on the kill screen, and that sort of thing. And I can see, and Nintendo's kind of done this, not just in terms of Virtual Console, but stuff like NES Remix. Square's kind of done stuff like this with Space Invaders Reloaded or whatever it is on PSN and I think PC.
Hate to interrupt you, Alex, but we are just about out of time.
Okay.
But you do bring up a good point. That's something that obviously in the future we're going to keep an eye on, because we're still very immature when it comes to gaming. I think technology is advancing faster, so I think it is hard to see how young gaming still is and how it's still growing into itself with consoles and different genres and now indie games. But as time progresses, we will keep an eye on this, and this is something I'm very curious and passionate about, so I love to talk about this kind of topic. But for now, I'm going to go down the line and let you guys know where you can find all these people and how to get a hold of them and what they do. Starting with the guy that was just talking, Mr. Alex.
You can find me at youtube.com/user/count0or. That's ZEROOR. Latest episode of my show is a review of the anime series Shirobako, and next week, new episode of the Nintendo Power Retrospectives.
So fuck you, Nintendo, for taking all those other ones down.
Yeah, taking it off of archive.org and Retro Mags. So full of hate.
You bastards. All right, Antonio.
Yeah, you just gotta say I downloaded pretty much most of the ones I wanted anyway, so fuck it. I still got those fucking magazines. But anyways, you can find me at YouTube. Gokado Retro Reviews. Gokado's Gokadl. Gokado, right there, Jared. You can pronounce it now. And Twitter at Gokadito, Gokadito, and of course at the Console Explosion. Oh, I have a Facebook page as well for that. Gokado Retro, I believe it's called. Yeah, something like that. You can tell that I don't do much there, but you know, if you're my grandma, I continue to use Facebook. Yeah, go ahead, do it.
Do it. All right, and Ian?
Yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me at w.historicnerd.com, or if you want to watch my videos, you can go directly to YouTube, w.youtube.com/historicnerd. I say this very sensual and slow, like a late-night DJ. Or if you want to talk to me directly, you can send a message to me at historicalnerd on twitter.com.
The Quiet Storm.
555. Sex me up.
If you want to call me. We're always up for late-night encounters.
Not again.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, do you have anything to add on?
Oh, do I have anything to add on? I have lots to add on, but we don't have a lot of time.
Is it about Street Fighter 5?
Probably.
We'd be here for another 6 hours if I talk about how shitty Street Fighter 5 is. Anyways, just make sure you check out everything at theconsoleexplosion.com. All these guys make beautiful works of art that everyone should check out.
Yes.
The videos are great. Antonio's actually making videos again, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen one, but we'll see it.
His camera's out behind him. That means he's working on something. Check it out.
He's been there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I haven't done crap either because fucking Overwatch has destroyed my life.
Yeah, when,
Are we playing
overcrack.
a match after this, or no?
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna go
up.
watch Stranger Things, which is also crack and preventing me from doing anything as
Ooh,
well.
yeah. Stranger Things.
Guys, don't watch. This is proof. Don't watch Overwatch. If you don't play Overwatch. If you don't play Overwatch, you've got one video a week, just like me.
And ye.
But also, on a side note, make sure you check out all of our social links there on the bottom. And if you like seeing some of these personalities, make sure you check out our Twitch streaming page. We have members of the Console Explosion who stream every day, from the Video Game Hunter to the Bearded Gamer, Black Ace, 2 Aces, Pickles sometimes. So yeah, it's a lot of people there, a lot of great personalities. Check them out. They do lots of giveaways as well. If you want some free swag and free games, that's the place to check it out. You can also collect Explosion bucks and make certain Console Explosion people do things they don't want to.
And don't forget about Hot Anime 32. He streams.
Yeah.
The Video Game Hunter streams every Monday.
yeah.
He actually beat his game Wild Arms.
Yeah.
So what next RPG game he'll be stuck in the same dungeon for 6 months?
Well, I'm telling you this, we'll be playing Magic Knight Ray Earth on the Sega Saturn.
There we
Nice.
go.
Wait, I gotta understand something though. What's an RPG game?
It's a role-playing game.
Play Undertale so you understand it.
I've beaten it twice. I'm good.
Oh yeah,
About it.
but Tavian hasn't though.
I
No,
got
not
the
yet.
I got the
I'm gonna buy
neutral
it.
I got the neutral ending and the best ending.
Ooh. And of
Where can they
course,
find you, Video Game Hunter?
Well,
yes.
you can find me on YouTube, the Video Game Hunter 32, or Hot Anime 32. They both take you to the same channel.
Only way to find him.
Yeah. I also have a Twitter, VGH32. And like Jared said, I stream for the Console Explosion every Monday. And yes, I finally got done beating Wild Arms. Believe it or not, that took me 1 year to beat.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's not that. I don't think it was that great, to be honest. I was kind of disappointed.
Wild Arms 2 is better.
And where can they find you, Blacktavian?
You can find Blacktavian, also known as the Philosopher, at facebook.com/philosopher, youtube.com/thephilosopher, and Twitter at thephilosopher if you want to hit me up on there. Of course, always on the consoleexplosion.com, as well as all these people, as Jared already mentioned. And I will be doing a giveaway. I will post it. All you have to do to be entered into it is to be subscribed to our page and press that like button and leave a comment. And I will message you personally so that I can ship your gift to you. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching this show, and I will see you in the next one.
Overwatch better than Street Fighter.
Can't even compare the two.